Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you've been following along, you probably already know that financial security is super important. But there's one part of your financial journey that's often overlooked: having an emergency fund. So today we're going to talk about emergency funds, what they are, why they're important, and how you can start building one. Whether you're just starting out in your financial journey or you're trying to get better at managing money, an emergency fund is one of the most important steps you can take to protect yourself from life's unexpected situations. Let's face it, life happens. You might lose your job, get hit with an unexpected medical bill, or have to pay for a car repair out of nowhere. If you don't have an emergency fund, these situations can send you straight into debt. But if you've got an emergency fund set up, you can face these challenges without stressing out about money. In this video, I'll walk you through the importance of an emergency fund, how much you should aim to save, and practical steps to get started. It's time to stop relying on credit cards and start building a safety net that can give you the peace of mind you deserve. So, let's dive in. First things first, what exactly is an emergency fund? Simply put, an emergency fund is money you set aside for unexpected expenses or financial emergencies. It's money that's not meant for regular bills or expenses, just the unexpected stuff that can throw your budget off track. Think of it like a financial safety net. Having an emergency fund is important for a few reasons. One of the biggest benefits of having an emergency fund is that it reduces financial stress. When something unexpected happens, like your car breaks down or you lose your job, it can feel overwhelming. But if you have an emergency fund, you don't have to panic. You'll have the money you need to handle these situations without going into debt or borrowing from friends and family. Without an emergency fund, many people turn to credit cards or loans when something unexpected comes up. This leads to debt, which can snowball quickly with interest rates piling on top of the original amount. But with an emergency fund, you're using your own money to cover those expenses, which keeps you out of debt and helps you avoid paying extra fees and interest. An emergency fund isn't just a financial tool, it's also a mental tool. When you know you've got a safety net to fall back on, you feel more secure. You don't have to stress about the what-ifs because you're already prepared for the unexpected. That peace of mind is priceless. Now that we know what an emergency fund is and why it's important, the next question is, how much should you save? This is a great question because there's no one-size-fits-all answer. But here's a guideline. Most experts recommend aiming to save 3 to 6 months of living expenses in your emergency fund. The idea is that this amount will cover the basics, things like rent, utilities, food, and transportation if you lose your job or have to deal with a major medical issue. But how much you should save depends on your personal situation. If you have a stable job and live in a place with a low cost of living, you might feel comfortable with just 3 months of expenses. However, if you have a more unpredictable job or you live in an area with a high cost of living, you might want to aim for 6 months or more. To figure out how much you need, start by adding up all of your essential expenses. These are the things you must pay every month, like rent or mortgage, utilities, electric, water, etc., groceries, transportation, car payment, insurance, gas, etc., insurance premiums, health, car, home, debt payments, student loans, credit cards, etc. Once you know what your monthly essentials are, multiply that by 3 or 6, depending on how much you want to save. This will give you a target amount for your emergency fund. All right, now that we know how much to save, let's talk about how to actually build that emergency fund. If you're like most people, you might be thinking, I don't have enough money to save that much. But here's the thing, building an emergency fund doesn't have to happen all at once. You can break it down into small, manageable steps. You don't need to save a huge amount all at once. Even if you can only save $50 or $100 per month, that's a great start. The key is to be consistent. Over time, those small amounts add up. The important thing is to make it a habit. One of the best ways to make sure you're consistently saving is to automate the process. Set up an automatic transfer from your checking account to your savings account as soon as you get paid. You can have a portion of your paycheck automatically transferred into your emergency fund before you even see it. This way, you're not tempted to spend the money, and it happens automatically every month. Even if you're just starting with a small amount, automating your savings makes it easy to stay on track without having to think about it. Look at your spending habits and see if there are areas where you can cut back. Maybe you don't need to eat out 3 times a week, or you can cancel a subscription you're not using. By trimming the fat on non-essential spending, you can free up money to put toward your emergency fund. It's not about completely eliminating things you enjoy. It's about being mindful of where your money is going and making sure your priorities are in line with your financial goals. If you receive any extra money, like a tax refund, bonus, or cash gifts, consider using a portion of it to boost your emergency fund. I know it's tempting to spend that money on fun stuff, but putting it toward your emergency savings will give you a stronger financial cushion for the future. Set a goal and timeline for building your emergency fund. It's easy to put it off, but if you break it down into manageable monthly goals, you'll be able to track your progress and stay motivated. For example, if your target is $3,000 and you plan to reach that amount in 6 months, you know that you need to save $500 per month. Breaking it down makes the goal feel more achievable. Okay, now you're saving money. Great, but where do you keep it? The best place to keep your emergency fund is in a high-yield savings account. These accounts offer a higher interest rate than a traditional savings account, meaning your money can grow a little bit while it's sitting there waiting to be used. It's a safe, liquid place for your emergency fund. Avoid keeping it in a regular checking account or in cash, because those accounts won't earn you much interest. You want your emergency fund to be accessible but still earning some interest over time. If you're looking for slightly higher interest rates, you might consider putting your emergency fund in a money market account or a certificate of deposit, CD. These accounts can offer better returns, but the trade-off is that they may not be as easily accessible as a regular savings account. Make sure that if you choose this route, you can still access your emergency fund quickly when you need it. Building an emergency fund might take some time, but it's one of the best things you can do to protect your financial well-being. It gives you the peace of mind to handle life's unexpected expenses without falling into debt. Plus, having a solid emergency fund will allow you to confidently move on to bigger financial goals like investing once you're ready. Remember, start small, be consistent, and automate your savings. It might feel like a slow process at first, but every little bit adds up. Before you know it, you'll have a financial safety net that will help you weather any storm. I hope this video has helped you understand the importance of an emergency fund and how to get started with building one. If you found this helpful, make sure to hit that like button, share it with someone who needs this advice, and subscribe for more tips on personal finance. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.